So welcome again, brothers. Welcome to the channel. So today I'm standing up to show you something that I've learned 4 years from now. It is some kind of code that you can use to learn from your weakness and learn where are your advantage in this life. So we'll call it more like your peace part of yourself, the peaceful part of yourself where you're at peace with, and where you're less at peace with, so more complicated in your system. So of course we're talking about, wait a sec, I'm gonna show you. Numerology. So right here you have all the fundamentals about numerology. So here you have the alphabet. It's not complicated to understand. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 until 9. And that means you put your alphabet in those matter of way. Okay, so that's the basic where you begin. Now you have all the description of those, and I ain't gonna read all of those. If you want, you can screenshot them or whatever. But if you go on Google and you type numerology, you'll find it. It's not like, you might not see what the zero mean, but we'll talk about this like a bit more later in the video. What's the zero in fact? Call it the cipher, but there's more meaning behind it. Okay. Alright. So before we begin, just be sure I will give you an image about all those things written. Don't worry about it, I'll put it in the editing. So, this over here is the method that you use in your birth chart. So, let's just say your birthday is like the first 01 of 02 of, let's say 2000. That's an easy one. Okay, so that's your birthday. So you were born the January, the 1st February 2000. All right. So now what you will do the addition of each individual spot on the board on your birthday. So let's say 0 plus 1 will equal 1. Over here 0 plus 2 will equal 2. And over here 2 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 will equal 2. Simple enough right now. So then you do the addition of each one together. So 1 plus 2 plus 2. What does it equal to? 5. So that would mean you are a 5. And your number right over there, this is the major number that you will be. So simple enough, this is your life challenge. And if you don't believe me, just do your birth chart and look at one of these aspects. So this one over here would mean if you were a 5, your life revolves, your biggest challenge of life would revolve around what's called the dynamo. So it means your freedom, adventure, innovation, and risk is your biggest challenge in life. So your life revolves around that difficulty in the base of it. It doesn't mean it's the only thing that will challenge your life, but that's what you gotta learn in your life about. And if you see your past mistake or your past challenges, and your future one will be around this majorly. That's what it means. And if you think about it, you'll see that it makes sense at some point. It doesn't mean you're a 5, but still, in each one of those numbers, the number that you will equal over here will be the one you will challenge yourself to. So let's imagine that, so let's say you were born the 26th. So you equal an 8 here. Okay, so plus 2, that would equal 12. Then you tell me, what does the 12 stand for? It's not right over there. So you gotta be sure in those matter of things that you always have only that kind of number. Everything in numerology works around the cycle of 9. So you just the only thing you have to do is 1 plus 2, then it would equal 3, and then your major number would be 3. So only for the people who are wondering about it, you just gotta do the same thing that you did over here. You always need to go back to a simple number like those. Now, you can do exactly the same thing with that kind of pattern to learn when you were born, what kind of weakness and advantage you had. So, if I can explain in the simplest manner, I will erase that. Okay, so if I can explain it in a simple way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's those numbers. So if you go back to the let's go back to 01, 02, 2000. That's your birth. Okay. So then you would just take those numbers. So here 1, you got 1, 1, and you got 2, 2 right over here. The rest will be all zeros. So we won't go in the complicated part. That will be for next video. But the fact that you don't have nothing right over here, and over here, if it interests you, just leave a comment, tell me that you want to know more about it, but that means weakness. But let's just say that in the birth chart, when you have 1, 1, that means you're mostly in peace with it. The less number you have in that part, the less sensible you will be about it. So let's say the 2, 2 right over here, you're not peaceful with it, but you have a little bit of struggle going on with this. It means you'll have like a more defined ability in that way, but you will struggle more in life about it. And the 2 would be like the divine feminine. The primal way would be like the brute force, and the second one would be like more the communication, not the communication one, but like the diplomatic way of acting with people. So it would be like 2, it's me in front of you, not me in front of people's, more me versus you, like, you know, like 2 together, like 2 people. That's what it means. So they would say like balance, partnership, intuition, and diplomacy. So that's what the 2 means. And right over here, that would mean your sensibility, that is like around the balance, the partnership, the intuition, and diplomacy, would be more affected when you were born. So you're born with a little more, say, spicy about those. The more you'll have, the harder it will get in your life, the more sensible you will be around that point in your life. So you can do the same thing with all the numbers. You could have a 9, you could have, but the more you have, the more struggle you're born with. So you need to deal with this in your life. And like I said, I will do another video to be more precise about it, and I will need a lot more than 2 videos to do that. Like, numerology is really big and you can have a lot of detail about it. Okay, now I'll just show my eraser. I'll give you today another tip about numerology, and it's working with this same method, okay, the same way. But this time you will use your name. So let's say This person is called Bob. Also, that's how we got introduced what's right over here. What is this about? So let's say the guy is named Bob Marley. So you go around each letter and you write up the numbers of those letters. So let's say this is a 2, this is a 6, this is a 2, this is a 4, 1, 9, 3, 5, and 7. If I'm right. Alright, I remember. So the more you'll do it, the easier it will be for you to remember the numbers of those letters. Okay, now you do that same tic-tac-toe kind of pattern. It's easy to use, and I think personally it's the best way to simplify things. So here are, now differently from the bar chart, you need to count the numbers of 2 or numbers you have in it. So let's say here this guy would have 2 2s. So you go here for the 2s. So 2, you write 2. You got 1 1, you write 1. You got 1 6, you write 1. We have 1 9, 1 7. We have 1 5. We got no 4. We got no 8. And we got no 3. Okay, so that's the name chart. What the name chart is about. But the first one you'll need to check is mostly the one that are not in peace. And like I said before in the birth chart, the one not in peace is the one you have the most in it. So here Bob Marley is mostly really in peace in his life. Like, it's not a guy who had a lot to work in his life. So it will be mostly a peaceful person and won't struggle to understand things. But on the other side, he might not get like a specialty in one of those categories just because he's mostly peaceful in it. But like I said before, the 0 have a meaning. The 0 is the 0, you can compare the 0 to black and white. When you get a number, you're more like in the gray sector of between the white and the black. But when you get a 0 in those points, there's not like it's yes or no. There's no variation. It's all or nothing. It's black or white. Like, if you can understand what I'm saying, there's no fluctuation between those categories in your life. So here, Mr. Bob Marley, if you can say the 3, the 4, and the 8. 3, so you had the 0 here, here, and here. So basically, it is self-expression, communication, joy, his pragmatism, problem solving, hard labor, hard work, and the wealth, ambition, and manifestation, and what's called leadership. He was doing it. If he was doing it, he was going all in it. If he wasn't doing it, he's not doing it. So there wasn't like this kind of like, I'm not doing it, but I might do it later. It was whether it's a yes or it's a no. So if he was communicating with somebody, it's because he wanted to. It was a yes. If it's not talking to you, if he wasn't talking to you, it was a no. He chose to say no. So there wasn't like this, I'm talking to him, but tomorrow I might not want to. It's if he talked to you, it's because he wanted to. So it's like a yes. So that's the concept of the zero, the cipher. It's a yes or a no. There's no fluctuation when you have a zero. Otherwise, when you have ones, and let's just say like the more you have similar number together, the more they fluctuate together. So when you have like those numbers together, so let's say the 1, the 5, the 6, the 7, and the 9. All those numbers, all those categories in his life needed to be in peace together. Otherwise, he wouldn't feel completed in his life. He wouldn't like feel in peace with them. So he had to, like, with the 1, it doesn't affect a lot only because he's in peace with them. So we're 3. Okay. So this is the 7 and this is the 5. That means let's erase them and put them like 3s. Okay, those are 3. They would match together. That means the 5 and the 7, if your freedom is compromised by something, that means your inner world, your world of solitude, your spirituality, your intellect, and your personal growth would be at, like, wouldn't work for yourself. That would put also like a problem in that sector. And on the opposite side, if somebody like put at risk your spirituality, that means you would feel like your freedom wouldn't be good either. So that's how they collide with each other when you have two numbers like that. So but Mario here didn't really have that problem. So mostly he didn't have to deal with that kind of problem. It doesn't mean his life wasn't passionate, but still, when you have too many ones, that means your life's more boring, more like you're more working on a peaceful way. So let's just say it like that. Okay, but still, he didn't just have one. If you would have just one, you would be like this kind of chill guy. You're peaceful. Everything's chill. There's no problem. You don't have problems at all. You don't feel like you have to some. And that's what having a lot of one does. But right over here, Mr. Bob had 2B. That means 2 2s. I made a mistake right over here. Mr. Bob Marley had a 1 over here. I didn't see it. There's a 4. Sorry about that. That's my mistake. Anyway, he has 1 1 1 1 almost everywhere. So this one you can forget about it. That would be those two were colliding with each other. The 2 right over here is what's called the balance, the partnership, the intuition, and diplomacy. Mr. Bob Marley had what's called a small struggle to deal with his partnership in his life. But it doesn't mean he had a big struggle about it. It just meant that he had to work on that in the beginning of his life. When his name was given to him, it was known that he had to deal with what's called the divine feminine. So he had a little bit more struggle to trust his intuition. He had more struggle to balance himself and to deal with somebody else face to face. But it doesn't mean he had really that problem. But still, that's what numerology is about. It's like telling you what you had to work with, to work for in your life, and the birth chart would be what you had to deal with in your life. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll do more about numerology. And if you're really interested about it, I'll give more detail, and I might even give some tips on my Discord about it, more details, and I'll put the image of those category in my Discord too. So hope to see you, and if you're at the end of the video, I just wanted to welcome you. Welcome to the Golden Scale Empire, brother. See you to the next one. Bye bye.